Hello, everyone. Welcome to this 49ers special. I'm Grant Cohn. That's Jason Hurley. If you're looking to follow him on Twitter, or you don't already, he's at 49ers Cap. And if you don't know who Jason is, I'll put it this way. All of us like to pontificate about what the Niners should do in free agency and what they will do, and then we pretend like we know anything about the salary cap. I've been trying to do this for a long time professionally. Sometimes I've even disagreed with Jason, but then I realized that Jason knows what he's talking about. And I, like most other fans, really don't. So it's always best if you have salary cap questions to just ask the man himself. This is what he does. So, Jason, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Grant, for having me on your show today.
Okay. I think the best way to start a show about the salary cap is to just get real basic. Why don't you explain to the fans, the people watching, just how much cap space the Niners currently have?
Right now, I have the 49ers at just over $10.354 million in cap room.
Say it again.
10.354
Okay.
million.
Is that, where does that rank among the league? Is that a lot? Is that a little?
That's about middle.
Middle.
Middle, right around the top 15.
Okay.
It's right in the middle of the league.
And
right
what I
now.
believe is interesting about this is they didn't have that much cap space before the draft.
Right.
Then they restructured Christian McCaffrey and created most of this space. And the question is, why? Do you feel like the Niners are just leaving themselves options? Like last year, they traded for Christian McCaffrey at the trade deadline. Like maybe they might want to do something similar this year. They won't know now who's going to be available.
Yeah, I think it's definitely they're keeping their options open. You could possibly see them sign someone, an edge rusher maybe, a right tackle. It's all going to depend on when training camp comes around. I can see them holding on to some of the cap room. Nick Bosa, he's due a big deal, obviously. So with that, they could use some of that cap room to kind of like front load the salary cap number a little bit. They could save some cap room. But I think what they're really looking at is more if there's not somebody on the market that they like, they're going to just keep the money for in-season roster moves and maybe hopefully in their mind carry it over into 2024.
Yeah, I mean that's an interesting option too. Is just rolling it over to 2024 because next year it seems like the Eagles might lose a bunch of veterans and really the NFC might open up for the Niners. Maybe they feel like that's their year, considering their quarterbacks are coming off injuries. I don't know, but yeah, I mean that's always an attractive option. It's like you double your cap space.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So that's where they stand. Before we get into Nick Bosa and Brandon Aiyuk and the big moves the Niners have to make, one of the quirks about the Niners roster is that they have a player on it, and Alfredo Gutierrez, who technically doesn't count against the 90-man roster. He's like not really on the team, but he is. Like he practices, they're developing him. Can you explain how that works?
Okay, so basically with Alfredo Gutierrez, the NFL created this international pathway program that allows teams to carry a player on their roster during the offseason and even on the practice squad. During the offseason, they obviously will develop the player, and if they feel he's good enough to make the roster, he'll make the roster. But normally what the player does is what happens with the player is he goes through waivers, and then they get assigned him. They can sign him to the practice squad. But the thing with it is that he can't practice, or he can practice. He can't play in the game, and he doesn't count against the salary cap, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. So is he the only player in the NFL like this?
No. The Vikings have a guy named Junior Aho. He's a rookie. I want to say at least 10 to 15 teams have a player on the roster that's part of the International Pathway Program.
Has a player from the International Pathway Program ever made it onto a 53-man roster?
That I'm not sure of, but it
Okay.
wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't
What do you think
surprise me.
Alfredo's chances are? I mean, I guess it's not really necessarily. I mean, how much have you seen of him?
I haven't seen much of him. The only thing
Yeah.
we've seen of him is practice squad or preseason games, and that's against third and fourth string players. So you really don't know what you have.
Okay. Sudden chaos. I just was active in Discord right now for you. I'll do better, I promise. Back to Jason. So the Niners have big extensions coming up,
Yep.
particularly Nick Bosa this offseason.
Yep.
Everyone knows that's the big move. He's going to be maybe the highest paid defensive player ever. We don't know. They have a lot of players they've extended. They have a lot of really highly paid players. This is a very, very good team. Like, how is the salary cap structure starting to look for next year? Like these top 10 to 15 players.
Okay, top 10 to 15. I wrote down some notes about this. Basically, with the top 10 players that are counting against the cap, they are counting over $199 million against the cap next year. That's a lot of money.
What is that, like 75%?
It depends on what the cap will come in at.
Roughly?
Roughly, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. Now the
And
team
if
does
you-
draft well in day 3, but like they have to like, that's all the depth. Damn.
And then when you look at players 11 through 15, if you add that, the total comes up to over $227.21 million for the top 15
And that's before
players
they pay Nick Bosa.
before Nick Bosa gets paid.
Wow. Are the Niners an anomaly, or have they built a team that's a little top heavy or a lot top heavy? How do you look at this?
I
A
think
necessary evil?
I think it's a necessary evil, definitely. I think they built a team that they know they're going to lose, a player or two here and there.
Manuel Mosley, Azeez
Manuel
Al-Shaair.
Mosley,
Yeah.
Al-Shaair,
Yeah. Jimmy Ward.
previously Laken Tomlinson and
Sure.
DJ Jones. So they know they're going to lose these players. So I honestly don't see this. It's tough to really say. The way they construct their roster, I think it's a necessary evil, but I also think it's it's just the way they do it. I'm not really worried about it per se. I mean, it's a lot of money, obviously.
What I think is kind of ironic about it is the Niners sort of, the way they rationalize it to the media that don't really understand is like, look, yeah, we spend a lot on these players, but we don't spend on our quarterback. So it kind of allows us to spend on other positions. But like Bosa's going to be making more than a lot of quarterbacks. Like Trent Williams makes more than some quarterbacks. Like you kind of do have that contract on your roster. So
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. And now you've kind of painted yourself in a spot where you can't really afford that quarterback, even if he were to come along, is the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they could finagle it.
They might be able to for a year or two, but that's going to be about it.
Yeah. So you're sort of locked into this cheap quarterback room, which is good news for Brock. I mean, they're not going to. Are they going to bring in Kirk Cousins next year, Jason?
I don't think so.
That's good news. You heard it here, 49er fans. You heard it here first. No Kirk Cousins next year. That would kind of be tough to fit into the salary cap picture. He makes a lot of money.
Yeah, he makes I think it's over $28 million a year, 25.
To be the 13th best quarterback in the league. Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, respect to Kirk.
Yeah, he played it well. He got that fully guaranteed contract the first time around, and he played out those 2 franchise tags. He really did. He's done well for himself.
Didn't he do well for like other players too? I feel like this whole fully guaranteed thing, people have to give the head nod to Kirk for doing it first. No?
Yeah. People like to say Deshaun Watson's the guy that did it first, but really it was Kirk
It was
Cousins.
Kirk. Yeah. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, he was doing it year to year on that franchise deal, and then he got it with the Vikings.
Minnesota. Yep.
Yeah. Sure, they love that. Do you think they regret that?
They may
It's like they don't
regret
want
that.
him. Kyle wanted him. It's like, the Kirk Cousins
Kyle,
experience.
yeah. The one thing that I just don't agree with Kyle is infatuation with Kirk Cousins and those style quarterbacks.
Yes, I'm with you. That's the thing. I feel like I feel like I could be a little more critical of Kyle than most Niner fans, but I feel like everyone's after on year 7 here, people have to agree that you can name all of his strengths, and there's a lot, but we kind of got to agree that the quarterback position has been a little bit of an oversight at best with this regime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And
So
I support the regime very much. You people can call me a homer. I am very much a supporter of Kyle and John, but I'm not going to be the person that says, "Oh, everything is flowers and roses and peaches and everything's perfect." No, they've done their bad stuff. They've done stuff that they shouldn't have. Signing players to ridiculous contracts, drafting players, overdrafting players. So yeah.
I think what's so interesting about this regime is like they've put together such a good team in every aspect except really, and they have such a clear vision at what they want at every position. Such a clear vision. But at quarterback, it feels like year 7 they're still searching, and they don't really. It used to be they wanted Jimmy, and then they wanted someone more dynamic, and now they want someone cheap and young. It's like, what? At what point do you feel like you lose confidence in their ability to pick a quarterback, and that overrides all the good that they do? That's a conversation for down the line. But I feel like that's what waits at the crossroads for them if they don't figure this out. Yeah.
I honestly, to me, I believe they need to figure out who their quarterback is this year. Is it Trey or is it Brock? It can't be both. It's got to be one or the other.
And you got to know by the end of the year.
Yes,
gosh darn it. You got to know.
You have
no more
to
this
know by
game.
the end of the year. No more QB controversy in year 8, 9, 10, whatever they get.
Because I mean, the way I look at it is most coaches, 99% of coaches wouldn't get to have a quarterback controversy into year 7. Like this is a grace period that Kyle and John have earned. But dude, enough is enough, man. You got to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to figure it out sooner or later.
Okay. Nick Bosa, he'll be here. Brandon Aiyuk is the one next year, and he's going to be, well, if he has a really good season, Pro Bowl season, an All-Pro season, I don't know if he'll get the targets, but if he has a Pro Bowl season, he's going to be able to demand a lot of money. Already paying Debo a lot, plus Kittle, plus McCaffrey. What do you think? Should they keep Aiyuk too? That's 2 different questions.
Yes, they can keep Aiyuk and Debo together.
How does that work?
Basically, what would happen would be they would take Aiyuk's salary for next year, which is $14.124 million, lower it down, save some cap room, have the way they like to do things is they like to have year 1 and year 2 of the deal to be very, very low cap numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then they spike in year 3 beyond. So
that makes sense. So you can stagger that.
Yeah, and they're gonna do this thing where they basically restructure contracts. They have Deebo Samuel. I honestly 100% believe Deebo's contract is going to get restructured next year. He's got over $20 million base salary.
Oof.
That's a lot.
And his cap number is $28 million. Like, you got to bring that down. You got to bring that down.
$28.572 million.
But here, let me ask you that: how do you extend? How do you restructure? I don't know if he'd want to extend it. It seems like he wants to hit the market again. So you just add a void year, or how's that work?
Yeah, you just add void years to the contract. They don't, he gets an upfront signing bonus. Why would a player turn that down?
He gets cash. Cash is great.
Yeah. Yep.
Cash is fun.
Cash is king.
Yeah, and seeing how much Debo wanted cash last offseason, like he might be. Of course, he would want to. The question is really, do the Niners? Is there any reason that they wouldn't want to do it? Like if he has another injury-plagued season, down season. Although I don't expect that. But if that happens, would they think twice?
I think they would think twice, but I think they're probably dead set on next year we're going to restructure Debo.
That creates a lot of cap space.
Yeah, that creates over $15.6 million.
Okay.
They also can extend the contracts of 3 players on defense. You got Eric Armstead, Charvarius Ward, and Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah.
That alone can save the team over $40 million in cap room.
Yeah, I'm seeing if they restructure Eric Armstead next year, they saves them almost $11 million. You think that would be something they'd be interested in?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think an extension is possible, but of course, everything we don't know what's going to happen this year. We have to see how he performs.
So here's why I need you, because I think a lot of people need you. Like they talk about void years, they talk about restructures, but they don't really understand it. So let me ask you this: if they restructure, so let's say Eric Armstead without extending him, does that all that really means is that Jed York has to cut him a check right now? Is that it?
Basically, yeah. Basically,
so it's up to Jed. Like, hey man, would you give him $10 million so we can have some cap space? Yeah, sure. Yeah. Front him $10 million.
Yeah,
cool.
You got to go to the owner and say, "Hey, can we do this?"
Yeah, it's going to require a little bit of cash right now, a little bit.
Yeah, that's what they did with Hargrave. They went to Jed and asked him, "Hey, can we sign Hargrave?" Yep, do it. And I think he's also said Jed himself has said that he's willing to do what he's done in the past next year to keep the team as together as possible and winning.
So essentially, like when they restructured Christian McCaffrey, they went up to him and they were like, "Look, instead of us giving you this money in weekly installments during the season, why don't we just give it to you now?" And he was like, "Cool, sounds good. I like that." So his game day checks will be lower, but he already got the money, so he's cool.
Oh yeah. He's like, I
so
got the money. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah. So they can do it as much as Jed allows them to. Good to know.
Yeah.
Jed, the pressure's on you. Now that everyone knows how it works, it's essentially just up to you. I love that. Good. Now fans can put pressure on the people that need to be applied pressure. Okay. This is interesting. So the Niners created this money in cap space. Is there a world where they have to spend it on Sam Darnold if he plays and plays well? This 10-ish million cap space they have.
Not really. No, Sam Darnold thing is with his incentives right now. 1.8 of the 7 million count against the cap, and then the other, I want to say 5.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct, 5.2 million do not. If he were to somehow achieve those 5.2 million, that would pretty much mean he started every game. They made the playoffs. They won the Super Bowl. That and yada yada yada. That kind of thing. Basically, it would. That would come out of next year's cap.
Like if there's a movie written about him at the end of the year, he'll get those $5 million pretty much. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Niners don't have to worry too much about him playing for a month?
As long as he's not the starter, no. I don't have to worry about it.
All right.
Now, of course, we always know we have quarterback injuries, so let's hope, knock on wood, nothing bad happens.
The contract they gave Sam Darnold, it is bigger than the one they gave Nate Sudfeld, correct?
Oh, yeah. They
significant, about double the size in terms of guarantee.
Oh, yeah. Guarantee-wise, it was $3.5 million compared to $2 million.
$3.5 million compared to $2 million. And while Jed York, generous guy that he is, did cut Nate Sudfeld and eat the money, or I don't know how he wants to think about it. $3.5 million is a little bit different, and it seems like Sam Darnold's probably going to make this team. Is that a fair assumption? Yeah,
it's a fair.
Unless they trade him or something.
Yeah,
which there's no
I
market
don't.
for him.
No, there's no market for Sam
Market for Sam
Darnold.
Darnold. So, okay, $3.5 million guaranteed for Sam Darnold as opposed to drafting Tanner McKee in round 6. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. I could rather have the young
Why is
rookie.
Kyle into Sam Darnold and his dad too? I don't get this.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I hope he. I hope to God we see a different Sam Darnold instead of I see ghosts out there.
This just feels like a little bit of the Kyle hubris. Not even just Kyle. I feel like McVay did it with Bortles. He was like, "Oh, Blake's been in a bad situation in Jacksonville. I'll bring him over here, put him in a good organization." No, he sucks. He sucks. And now he's gone. I'm not saying Sam Darnold sucks, but that's been the Sam Darnold experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree.
So you have him on this 1-year deal where like best case scenario is he plays and wins you games, and then don't you dare give him a multi-year deal next year based off of that. I don't like that.
No, I don't
like that.
I don't either. Nope.
It's like if you like that cheap quarterback room, draft another one. But I think the Niners felt they needed experience in the quarterback room. But I would counter, is Sam Darnold's experience good experience? It's just the experience of messing up all the time.
Yeah.
Except for those 7 plays a game. 7, maybe.
Yeah, 7, maybe.
Maybe
10. 7,
maybe
10
10
plays. Maybe.
You're out in New York. You've had the Sam Darnold experience. What did the New York media do with that poor child from not poor child, but that poor man from the Orange County?
They killed him.
What'd they say about him?
Bust. Completely a bust.
Did they attack his like leadership qualities or in his West Coastness, or was it just like the stuff on the field?
Stuff on the field, I think it was
enough.
And
It was enough. Let's give him enough ammo with that.
That was enough.
Yeah. I don't know why the Niners would waste their time trying to turn it around, but you know what? Here's what I think. I think they put a lot of stock into Christian McCaffrey and Steve Wilkes.
Yes.
I think they do, and I think both of them like, we love them. And so Kyle's like, all right, okay, if you say so. I think that's a little bit of it.
Yeah, I do. I think Wilkes and McCaffrey had some say. Like,
what are they going to say though?
Talked. I know.
I don't know.
They only had him for a year, and McCaffrey only was there for like 6 or 7 weeks, 6 or 7 games, or 8 games before we got him in that trade.
I feel like if Kyle can win with Sam Darnold, that's a legit accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's a legit accomplishment. Yeah. I think the goal for Darnold would be no more than 3 games in a row. Here's the thing, because the thing with Darnold is, as you said, the ghost. Like, it's not can you trust Sam? It's can Sam trust Sam? He can't even trust himself. So why would you want him out there for more than 2 games? You might get lucky for 2 games where he's like on a heater, but you know it's going to come in game 3 or 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam. Nothing personal.
And yeah, nothing against Sam. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy and all, but I don't know.
Here's another guy I would compare him to. Blaine Gabbert. Top 10 pick, big, kind of prototypical, strong, supposed to be super smart, good teammate. Almost like I think Sam might accept being a long-term backup if that's his fate, kind of like Blaine Gabbert did. But despite all those good qualities, just not a starter.
No, he's not.
Just not a starter. No. Anyway, Sam, prove us wrong. Dave Barclay, what's up, Grant? How much I miss? About 24 minutes. We're powering through. We've done a lot. You see Niners have 2 Thursday to Sunday games. It's true. 2 Thursday games. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, they have the regular Thursday night game and they have the Thanksgiving night game.
No one wants to play on Thanksgiving night.
No.
I have to work on Thanksgiving night. Thanks, NFL.
Yeah.
It's all right. It could be worse. Carson Wentz is a free agent. Get him, Kyle. What happened to Carson, man? He's like one of the least popular players in the NFL, clearly.
Oh, he's got.
No one has anything good to say about him.
No.
Not one person.
Nobody has a great thing to say. Any good thing to say about Carson? It's
nothing.
All he's not a good leader. He's not a good locker room influence. He
Yeah.
doesn't even. He's not a good player. I
I feel
wouldn't
like that's the
go
difference between him
over.
and like Sam Darnold. Like Sam Darnold's hanging around because everyone likes him. They'll be like, hey, say what you want about Sam. He's a great guy. He's come with us to the game tonight. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's like he tells great
yeah,
jokes. He's got a nice sense of humor. Doesn't take himself too seriously. Like, great. Kyle has a real eye for backup quarterbacks. And I think Sam could be a great backup quarterback for him. But, like,
yeah,
what about that starter, Kyle? What about that franchise guy that you want?
yep, yep.
Who? Even Brock, I don't even know yet. I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder if Kyle. We all know he has an ego, and
Hey, so did Bill Walsh. God love him.
yeah,
He's entitled.
God
It's just
rest.
quite large.
Yes, and
It's big.
I wonder if he's thinking, if I can win with Brock Purdy,
Oh my God!
I can
Now
win
I'm
with
like,
anybody.
it's like Bill Belichick and me, right? Like, oh, you won with your
Yeah.
6th round pick. That's pretty cute. I won with the last pick in the draft. It's enticing. It's enticing.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, anyone who has an ego would be enticed to that. But it's like at the same time, you don't know that you can win with Brock. He wasn't super great against the Cowboys. Wasn't bad, and then
No.
he didn't make it through the game against the Eagles. So you might want to keep your options open. Although, not Sam. Not Sam. Not Sam. All right, last question for you.
Poor Sam.
What should the Niners do with their remaining cap space? It's an intriguing. I mean, they could sign a guy now that
Yeah.
it doesn't count against the compensatory pick formula. They could wait and trade for a guy mid-season. They could roll it over. What would you think is the optimum strategy here?
What I would do is I would invest that money in an edge rusher, a Yannick Ngakoue, Justin Houston, someone like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little iffy on the edge rushers we have. I like the kid out of Georgia, Robert Field Jr. And, I want to like Cleveland Farrell and Austin Bryant and hope Cassera can do something with them. But let's be real.
Yeah.
There's a reason why Cleveland Farrell
He's played a lot of football in the NFL, man. Yeah. Raiders gave him a lot of looks. And then there's Drake Jackson.
Yes, who I've heard has put on muscle.
That's important.
Which
That's
I
important.
believe. I believe Drake is the guy that's
Okay.
he's gonna be the guy that has to step up.
Has to be Drake. Because
It
no one
has
else. I'm sorry, Cleveland Farrell. If you're watching, I apologize. It's not going to be Cleveland Farrell. Like what he's here is to set the edge and be a good run defender, and that's important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that Drake
Yeah.
Jackson can do that, but Drake Jackson is here to be on the field on 3rd down and get sacks, and he needs to do that. Otherwise,
Oh yeah.
there'll be a lot of blitzing. There's gonna be a lot of blitzing on 3rd down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
So I guess it's like they gave him this. They spent a 2nd round pick on him. He's young. Instead of just bringing in Yannick Ngakoue and blowing him out of the water and say, hey, you're getting another redshirt year. Sorry, buddy. Maybe they'll bring him into camp and see what he's got. Maybe Yannick doesn't even want to go to camp. A lot of times, vets, when they hit a certain age, like, you know what? Hit me up at the end of September. I'm good. Because training camp is awful. Not awful. It's grueling. It's grueling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can
So maybe
only
that
imagine.
could happen. Yeah, give Drake a look. Give Drake a look. Probably some of these guys don't want to be there at the beginning of training camp anyway, and see what he looks like. You'll probably have a good idea after a preseason game or two whether he's going to be a breakout player this year or not.
Yep. You're gonna hopefully we know after the first 2 games he's gonna.
What I think is interesting is that, like, when you talk about a mid-season or like a mid-training camp acquisition, I feel like there's Niner fans come down in 2 spots. It's either left D end or right tackle. And I would say right tackle. I'm scared about Colton McKivitz, although they've won games with him and he's played well in important, playing left tackle too. What do you think about the right tackle situation?
The Kibitz, I'm very worried about the right side of the line. I'm
Not
not
just him
sure
either.
about-
Burford too.
I hope Burford. I hope what happened with Burford last year was more that they just wanted to kind of like get him used to being in the NFL. Okay, Brunskill took a series here, and then you take a series and back and forth.
Like, get your feet wet as opposed to just redshirting. Yeah.
Instead of redshirting him and instead of
Yeah.
throwing him into the
I
fire.
like that. I thought that was clever. You don't see it very much, but you could do it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, what are their options on the right side of the line? If it doesn't work out, my problem with not drafting an offensive tackle is like, if it doesn't work out with McKivitz, or he misses a couple games, or Trent Williams misses a couple games, like, who's the swing tackle now? Because that was McKivitz.
Right.
Is it Zakel?
Maybe.
I don't know if it's Zakel.
I don't know.
Maybe. Is it Jalen Moore? I don't know.
I don't know.
Kind of scary.
I'm not the biggest Jalen Moore fan. He hasn't really shown much yet. But
yeah, they always like, well, we like him at guard. Well, then play him at guard. You always play him at tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I don't get about. We like the guy at guard, but we don't play him there.
It's like year 3. You might want to see him there before it's too late. I don't know. I have here's my question. Feliciano, why is he here? What is the deal there? Because his physical profile is different than what the Niners have typically had in the right side of their line. They've gone very light on the right side of their offensive line from Mike Person to now. Which I don't know. You want to be physical on offense. Like, how about get someone like John Feliciano? Like, what do you think?
I think what I heard from him, from what his press conference was, why he chose San Francisco, was he wanted a chance to compete.
Chance to play. Yeah.
A chance to play and compete. And I honestly think he's the new Daniel Brunskill for this year. The guy that can pretty much play almost all over the offensive line. Yeah. So I liked the John Feliciano signing. I know he was a 16 or 17 game starter last year with the Giants. Mm-hmm. So that's always a great thing, having a guy that is healthy.
Yeah. Dependable.
Played a lot. Dependable.
Know what you get. Yeah.
Durable. Yeah. Versatile.
Right.
You know, he plays.
Because you're hoping Burford makes a jump, but you don't know. Yeah, and if he doesn't, you got Feliciano. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, though, like Matt Pryor.
I'm not sure about Pryor.
Yeah. And if it's not him, again, is it like, I asked John Lynch, because I was trying to talk myself into them thinking Zakel, like that was their evil plan for Zakel. So before the draft, I was like, hey, John, are you guys gonna be looking at Zakel at right tackle? He was like, nah, we kind of like him. Like, he can play everywhere. Like, okay. So who am I not thinking of? Like, what? I don't know. To me, that's a very important position, and the Niners are pretty casual about it. Maybe it's Alfredo.
Maybe. Hey, who knows? Yeah.
Maybe it's Alfredo.
Yeah.
He looks better than he did in the past. I mean, it's his 3rd year, I want to say, with the team.
Yes, it's his 3rd year on
That's pretty cool. Maybe he'll get in a preseason game this year. I'd like to see him get in a preseason
I hope so.
I think he's
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
And another thing I wanted to mention about Gutierrez was I think having him really helped the team's fan base over in Mexico, because when we went to the Mexico City game, when the Niners played the Cardinals and it was a home game for the Cardinals, it felt like another home game for the 49ers.
To be honest, I was there, and maybe it's just because the press box was open air, and usually there's like a whole thing of plexiglass, but it felt like the biggest home field advantage they've ever had. Like, it was like a soccer game. Those fans in Mexico City are so much more passionate about the 49ers than the fans that show up at Levi's. I'm so sorry to the people who show up at Levi's. It's nothing against you, but like, damn, they were like, look, this only happens once every 15 years. We love this freaking team. We want to show it. And it was like from the minute they came on the field, it was amazing. It was great. They should do that more often.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Very great.
We talk about SoFi being Levi's South. No. Stadium Azteca is Levi's South. And whatever SoFi is sort of like in the middle. But that was so much fun.
Yeah, and I wish
highly
I could have
recommend
been
it.
there.
Yeah.
I was at the home opener in 2021. That was the game where we lost to the Packers.
Home opener in 2021?
Yeah, when we lost to the Packers. That was a heartbreaker.
If I remember correctly, the first 2 games were on the road. They started in Detroit, then they stayed on the East Coast. I
Yep,
and then they went
Philly.
to Philly. And what happens is, you should have known, they always lose that game coming off that. I don't think they're doing it this year, because what's the point if you're just going to give it back on the way home? I just don't think it's worth it. Plus, the players hate it.
Yeah.
Plus, you're in. I'm not going to say anything bad about West Virginia. It was a very nice place, West Virginia. Great place. Charming.
Yeah.
Charming. My experience in West Virginia was, I was staying at the hotel, whatever it was, the Courtyard. And I was like, hey, is there like a place to get, a bite to eat and a drink? And they're like, oh yeah, like at the hotel next door, they got a really nice bar. Really nice bar. I'm like, oh, perfect. So I walk over, and it's like one of those scenes where, like, it kind of feels, you walk in and there's 40 people in, they all look at you, and like it kind of feels like the record stops. It's like, and everyone's dressed the same, and they all have the Duck Dynasty beard and camo on, and like Oakley glasses on their head, and I'm like not wearing that, and they're like, oh, we got an out of towner. I'm like, oh, should I run? I don't know. Yeah. I'll just try to act natural. And it's like, this was really scary, man. It was really weird. And maybe I didn't mean to judge them, but to have everyone look at you and be like, oh, out of towner. I'm like, oh my God, what are they going to do? Is it cool? Should I leave? Is it good? I don't know, man. It's scary. Yeah. It's scary as hell. West Virginia. Anyway, that's my story. Jason, real quick, we have a question from Diego. He says, let's say that Brock, Trey, and Darnold turn out to be extremely amazing. How should the Niners go about this? Wow, all three. It could happen.
If all three turn
out to be just great. Like Joe, Steve, and Jeff Garcia, all in one.
Yeah.
What do they do?
What do they do? Okay, let's
pick one and trade the other two. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
pick one.
It has to be Brock or Trey. It has to be.
I would think so.
I mean, it can't. I just don't see it being Darnold.
I just feel like if Trey ends up having a big leap this year and starts showing the promise that, the potential that they were banking on when they traded up for him, how do they turn away from that? Even if Brock is great, like, you wanted Trey to be special. He ended up blooming a little bit later than you thought he would. Now you don't want him anymore because Brock was good too. Like, I think Trey's got to be in the lead but again, that would require one hell of a lead. We'll see. He's running out of time. 2 years. Maybe not. Yep.
Yeah.
Good question, Diego. I'm out of questions. Is there anything else? Gammon Brown, Wildcat formation with Sam, Brock, and Trey, LOL. Can Kyle get them all through? Is there going to be, this isn't really a salary cap question, but it's a rule question. Have you been monitoring at all that rule change that the Niners want to happen where you can get 3 quarterbacks active on game day?
I have been monitoring it. I haven't heard anything about it actually getting passed.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be doing it at the next owners meeting, which I think is in either this month or next month.
Okay.
So hopefully that's something they really have to consider, is having 3 quarterbacks active.
Yeah, maybe that will influence what the Niners do with their quarterback room.
Yeah, exactly.
That decision will probably come before. Anyway, is there anything else I didn't ask you that I should have or that you'd like to bring up? No. Okay.
Nope.
Well, again, if you've never met Jason before, he's on Twitter at 49ersCap. And he's a really good follow on Twitter because he answers all your questions, and usually he's answered your question before you've even posed it to him. So I would highly recommend you following him. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate it.
Of course. Take care, everyone. See you tomorrow with my pops. Noon. See ya.